Hello and welcome to CIPD Bitesize. In this video, we're looking at 5HR01 AC3.1. Explain the principles of legislation relating to unfair dismissal in respect to the capability and misconduct issues. That, my friends, is a lengthy question. And the first thing that we will always do is we'll break the question down into its multiple component parts so that you can have a plan of action about how you're going to address the question. And to do that, we have done the following, which is explain principles of legislation relating to unfair dismissal in respect of capability and misconduct. So the principles of legislation relating to unfair dismissal in respect of capability and misconduct. So we've broken the question down in terms of what you've been asked to do. And as always with CIPD Bitesize, we'll break the question down into its verb elements and then into action points so that you can have a plan of action about how you're going to attack this question. And to do that, let's go to the next slide. So AC 3.1 sits in the top left-hand corner of your screen. That is your heading. That's what CIPD want you to put on the top of the paper. And whilst this question is meaty, it can actually be broken into some really simple action points. So explain to make something clear, easy to understand by describing or giving information about it. Explain principle 1 of legislation for unfair dismissal focused on capability and misconduct. Explain principle 2 for legislation of unfair dismissal focused on capability and misconduct. Principles is multiple. Again, the cheeky S I've referred to in multiple videos where CIPD put an S on something to make it you have to do it multiple times. So principles, explain the principles, that's the CIPD's cheeky S. So therefore you're having to explain principle 1 and having to explain principle 2. Within CIPD 5HR01, you have 390 words per AC. You probably need 150 words per AC for this one to really do it, and aim for a reference and citation per action point. You probably should aim for 2 references and citations per action point on this one, because you're focusing on capability and misconduct. So again, there's you're probably going to look more at ACAS and some CIPD resources for this. Probably more going to look at it from an employment law perspective and from a legal perspective. And CIPD use UK employment law, so you're going to be looking at it from a UK employment law perspective. But you probably want to have a reference or a citation from a legal perspective and from a CIPD research perspective. So you probably need to aim for about 150 to 200 words per AC, per action point. And you need to aim for a legal citation and a research citation for each action point that you've got. So it goes 3.1, 150 to 200 words on principle example 1. Action subheading 2 is principle example point 2, and you write the words and everything that you need in there. In terms of additional reading and additional support, these are some of the things that we recommend, which is CIPD fact sheet, which is disciplinary and grievance at work, the ACAS conduct and capability procedures, and the ACAS code of practice disciplinary and grievance. That should have everything you need when it comes to explaining the principles of legislation relating to unfair dismissal in respect to capability and misconduct issues. If you're trying to sort of think about it from a weird and wacky way, this is really clear. This is the legal definition. What can I do? What can't I do? What should I do? What shouldn't I do? Use CIPD, use ACAS, keep it clean for yourself. It's the easiest way to get through on this. As always, we say try not to use any references or anything that is over 2 years old. This is especially important when it comes to things from employment law, because if you reference a law or a statute that's out of date, you could refer on this. So try to make sure that you use the most up-to-date thinking. You'll see the links underneath this post where we'll have information for you. We always make sure that it's as up-to-date as it can be, so that you're using the most up-to-date thinking, that you can get the pass on this as well. But ACAS, CIPD fact sheets, they're the most up-to-date resources. Make sure that you use them. Now, as always, when we go through an AC and we want to sort of give you an example, we create a sort of fictitious scenario to sort of guide you through the question. And with this, just imagine a sports team as a company where the players are the employees, and the two main reasons a player might want to be removed from the team is lack of skill, capability, and breaking the rules, misconduct. Unfair dismissal legislation acts like the rule book in this situation, ensuring fairness for both team and players. So capability, the player who is consistently missing shots, fumbling passes, lacking stamina to keep up with the game, the coach might decide the player isn't performing at the expected level. Unfair dismissal is just like the coach can't bench a player for a single bad game. Legislation ensures that the team provides the player with the proper training, opportunities to improve, and a fair warning before dismissal. An example might be that offer the player additional training sessions. You might change the position or a chance to prove themselves in a practice game before taking action. You can't just have one bad game and get rid. Misconduct is like a player who shows up late for practice, argues with the coach, gets into a fight with another player. These actions disrupt the team, becomes volatile, and they violate the established rules of conduct. Unfair dismissal, the legislation doesn't protect players who break rules. However, it ensures the team follow proper procedure. There should be clear rules in place, fair warnings for minor offences, and a chance to explain themselves before dismissal. So depending on the severity, the coach might give the player a verbal warning, a suspension, a dismissal for serious offences. The legislation is designed to protect both sides. It ensures that the team has the right to remove players who aren't performing or disruptive to the environment, but it protects players from being unfairly dismissed for minor issues or without proper opportunities to improve. Just like a good rule book, unfair dismissal legislation helps maintain a fair and productive work environment for both the company and its employees. Hopefully that gives you a really sort of good example about how to approach this question, understanding it from a principles perspective. If you think about a sports team and a code of conduct and a player who's not performing, think of that as a staff member, think of that as someone within there, and then the rule book is employment law, and what you can do in terms of someone with a capability issue or someone with a misconduct issue. Hopefully this helps. Absolutely best of luck with the unit. If you need anything, obviously you can reach out to us, but take care and we'll catch you on the next one.